Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's live guided meditation. I am Sarah May, and I'm so glad to see you all here. We are live today on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you'd like to post in the comments and just say hello, please do so. I think it always helps to just, show your presence, right? It helps if we support each other in meditation by checking in and saying hello. Hi, Leslie. You might even tell me where you are listening in from. I am coming to you live from Fort Worth, Texas today. So it's morning here. So it's feels really good to start the week with meditation. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, Marcy, Nancy, Deborah, Max. It's so great to see everyone that's chiming in on LinkedIn, and we have a few on Facebook and YouTube as well. So, welcome everybody. Deborah, Tamika, Cindy, hello. Liz, hello. Yeah, and we have people from all over the world: Las Vegas, Kansas City, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Scotland. It's so wonderful to see. So, thank you guys so much for being here. And for joining us in meditation here. And you may or may not have any idea of how much your presence here just encourages and supports others, and it really contributes to creating this wonderful community where we can all share in meditation. Yeah, greetings from Vermont, Colombia, Bangladesh. So great to see. So today, we'll get started here in just a minute. I know people are still trickling in. But today we have a meditation on the breath, right? So simple, yet no less profound. We are going to do a meditation that's typically referred to as the perfect 10 breaths. But I chose today to call it complete 10 breaths instead. And I think, for me personally, this word perfect can kind of be a challenge sometimes, right? It invites in a little bit of judgment, right? Maybe, we define perfect as being good or right or better than something else. But when we say perfect 10 breaths, that's not really what we mean. We are using this word perfect to kind of meaning, complete and whole. So we're calling it today 10 complete breaths because I think that gets to the meaning a little bit more. In this meditation, uh, it's all about just allowing yourself to be completely and fully immersed in the breath and nothing else. And by practicing that over and over and over again, hopefully we can develop some insight into the completeness of the present moment itself, right? So, welcome everyone who are joining us from all over Portugal, Massachusetts, India, Canada, Connecticut. I love to see New Jersey. Um, so, let's begin. How about we begin? So, I happen to be seated in a chair today. Usually, I'm in a cushion, but whether you're seated in a chair or on a cushion, just take a moment to settle into your space. Whatever that means to you, just check in with the seat itself. Do you feel stable there? Do you feel connected? Do you feel grounded? Perhaps if you're on a chair, scoot to the front a little bit so you can sit up tall. Plant the soles of your feet on the ground. And let your hands just rest in your lap in a way that promotes ease in the shoulders. Find a nice upright posture, but promote ease in the belly. And here we are. Close your eyes if you'd like to, but just otherwise, turn your attention inward. And we turn the attention towards the breath. We might begin by taking a deep, full breath in through the nose and a full exhale also through the nose. Maybe one or two more of those. Deep breath in, full breath out. But eventually, just returning to a natural and easy breath in and out through the nose. And so notice, what about the breath is calling your attention today? Maybe it's a sensation of breath as it moves in and out of the nose. Maybe we notice that breath has a temperature, perhaps cooler on the inhale, warmer breath out. Maybe it's the sound of your breath that draws your attention. Or we might just generally be aware of the overall sense of breath through the body as a whole. A lifting and lowering of the shoulders, or a sense of extension of the spine on breath in. A little more grounding, a little more weight on the seat with breath out. Just dialing into the breath and nothing else, in whatever way makes the most sense to you right now. What about the quality of your attention? Perhaps observing the breath with a kind curiosity. Might make sense to invite in gratitude or a sense of awe. What helps tether your focus to the breath? And so, with this breath awareness, we're going to do a little exercise here called 10 complete breaths. So, it's very simple. We just take a nice deep breath in and then count this exhale as exhale number one, followed by inhale number one, and then exhale number two. Breath in number two. Exhale number three, and so on. Counting all the way up to 10. 10 complete breaths. Completely immersed. Connected to breath with our complete attention. Completely present. Completely engaged. Completely content to be just here, present with breath. And if at any time we've lost count, we just return to a breath in. And then exhale number one. Inhale number one. Exhale number two. And so on. As many times as you need to, coming back to breath out number one. Seeing if we can count all the way up to 10. Completely engaged and immersed with this one breath out and this one breath in. And then still aware of the breath. Let go of the count and simply observe. What does it feel like in the body right now? What's the quality of the breath like right now? Having done that exercise, what's present? It's possible that in striving for a perfect 10 breaths, there's a little bit of tension in the body or the breath. Maybe we can just soften around that a little bit. Notice if there's any judgment present. Not making it to 10 is certainly not a failure. The success is in returning to breath out number 1 as many times as we need to. Maybe having spent that focused time on breath, there's a little more ease, a little more calm present here. Whatever's arising, just allow for it and observe it with that kind curiosity. And stay with the breath. Natural, steady breathing in and out through the nose. In this one moment, in what way is the breath calling your attention? Let the mind loosely or spaciously rest on the breath. And we'll try our exercise one more time. A complete 10 breaths. So now we know what to do. We'll take one breath in and then count this as breath out number 1, followed by inhale number 1, breath out number 2, and so on, all the way up to 10. Can we allow ourselves a total immersion, complete connection to breath? Can we surrender fully to this one moment? Understanding there is nothing outside of this one moment that we need. This moment carries within it everything. It is complete. It is perfect. Can we give ourselves to this moment completely for 10 full, perfect breaths? Breath out number 1. Inhale number 1. Breath out number 2. And we continue. Coming back to breath out number 1 as many times as we need to. And then still aware of breath, letting go of the count. And then noticing what's present here. And if you sense any tension from striving or self-criticism, just let it release with each breath out. Whether or not we sustain a perfect count all the way up to 10, what we aim to notice with this exercise is that each individual cycle of breath is perfect just as it is. This one breath out and this one breath in is complete and is full. And it carries within it every single thing I need to be complete and full and content myself. So rest in that truth for a moment. Rest in the truth that this one present moment is complete just as it is. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes, let go of the meditation. Maybe take a nice deep breath in or a full breath out. Sit up a little taller again, or invite in a little bit of movement to the body, but just come back to the body and to the space around you. So, hi everyone. Okay, I'm Sarah May again. Welcome to those of you who've just joined. Thank you so much for your comments, for checking in, for saying hello. We are live on several platforms. So if I'm responding to a comment that you don't necessarily see, that is why. But yeah, um, B says, thank you. I needed to stop to breathe. It's been so stressful. So thank you for this time out. Yeah, this is a wonderful practice. You might hear this practice referred to as perfect 10 breaths. I chose to refer to it today as complete 10 breaths because I think that that word really gets to the intention a little bit more. We're not saying perfect 10 breaths as in you need to count to 10 perfectly, but it's perfect 10 breaths as in each breath itself is perfect, right? Each breath itself is full and complete and whole as it is. Each moment is perfect. Um, so, we happen to structure this complete 10 breaths into about a 20-minute meditation, maybe a little longer than 20 minutes. But this perfect 10 breaths is something that you can do any time really quickly on your own and just taking that 10 breaths, just counting to 10 and trying your best to remain fully engaged and fully present and just fully surrender to the completeness of each individual cycle of breath. You can just do that on your own at any time, and it only takes 10 breaths, or five or three even, right? So this is a wonderful meditation if you just need a little moment of stress relief, or just a little moment of reset for the central nervous system, or if you just want a little reminder that this one moment is perfect completely as it is. Yeah, Sierra says, I didn't know LinkedIn did live videos. Yes, it does. It's so wonderful to hear that's of benefit to you. What an amazing thing it is that all of us are here live, through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through YouTube, connecting to fellow meditators from all over the world. So this is really a beautiful space and wonderful to see. Yeah, thank you, Tamika, feeling grounded. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Yeah, it's an we say, these meditations on the breath are the easy meditations or all levels meditations or beginner meditations, foundational meditations. Um, but, you know, they're no less profound, right? And meditating on the breath um, is not limited in its capacity to introduce you to the truth, right? Um, and so I think that's something, to be reminded of is that we don't have to complicate this. We don't have to complicate things. Um, we can get everything that we need by just fully and completely allowing ourselves to be present with this one cycle of breath, right? So, the perfect 10 breaths or the complete 10 breaths or full 10 breaths, whatever you want to call it, this practice just really invites you to drop down into the present moment. Um, but it also does carry with it, because we're saying, hey, can we go to 10, right? It carries with it a little bit of an invitation for a challenge, right? Um, we can count one breath, we're counting one breath at a time, and the invitation is to stay completely immersed with that one breath. But also, the invitation is to continue that process all the way up to 10 breaths, right? So, I was thinking today, why is it so important that we learn to stay focused? Why is it so important that we use meditation to train the mind to just have the capacity to be present with this one moment, and to sustain that presence from moment to moment to moment. And in this case, we practice doing it all the way up to 10 breaths. And if we find we've gotten distracted, we begin again with breath number one. Why is that so important? And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe type into the comments, why is focused attention or the ability to remain present important to you? But one thing that came to mind for me this morning was a quote from one of my favorite teachers, Sogyal Rinpoche. And I don't know, I'm sorry, the exact quote, but I've heard him say something along the lines as, um, our distraction is the source of all of our suffering, or that our suffering ends when we cease being distracted, right? So, thinking about that a little bit, that our suffering ends when we cease chasing distraction. Um, you know, the way I like to think about that is that if I am fully content in the present moment, if I no longer need to chase, like, oh, what's going on over there? What's going on over there? What might be happening over there? What about this thought? What about that thought? Right? If I can ignore all that and instead remain fully grounded in the present moment, well, it's probably because I'm content with this present moment just as it is. What would it feel like? What would it be like in your body, in your mind, to be completely okay with this present moment just as it is, no matter what, and to have no need, absolutely no need to like pick up the phone, open a new browser window, scroll through another set of comments, no need to chase a thought, even, what would it feel like in your body to be so okay with your experience as it is, that you no longer are disturbed by distraction, or you're no longer pulled by distraction, right? So that's something to contemplate. And I think that this meditation, the perfect 10 breaths, really helps us to work against distraction and can really introduce us to the fullness, the completeness, the perfection, if you will, that's available in just this one cycle of breaths, right? Gonka says, because life just flows at the moment, otherwise we miss the life. Yeah, life is right here. It's not over there. It's not a minute ago or a minute ahead, right? It's here we are. Here we are. So, what would it be like to be totally free from needing to be anywhere else other than this one moment, Um, so I think it bears repeating. I just love that quote, our suffering ends when we no longer feel compelled to chase after distraction. So yeah, Tamika. Yeah, getting away from perfection, staying out of the past. Yeah, keeping yourself from worrying or ruminating about the future. Yeah. How often are we just not present? What would it feel like to really be present? And I think it bears mentioning, we don't have to like the present moment. We don't have to like what's happening right now, but we do have to allow for the present moment, right? How often do we, in so many ways, attempt to avoid the truth of our present moment? And maybe that's what distraction really is all about. Like when we are caught up in distraction, we are on some level avoiding the truth of the present moment. How many of you in that meditation, felt a sense of discomfort over just staying present with one breath, you know? Um, I know for me personally, it's easier to see that discomfort perhaps outside of meditation, right? Like how uncomfortable it is when you don't have like access to your phone for a few minutes, right? Or how uncomfortable it is when you find yourself like in waiting room and there's no cell service, or you don't have anything to busy yourself with, or you don't have, how awkward does it feel when you're not holding with that cup of coffee in your hand, or whatever it is, right? All these habits that we normally have to kind of like soothe our discomfort with just being in the present moment, right? So I think that it's worth saying, you don't have to like the present moment, but if you're willing to be with the present moment and allow for whatever's arising in that present moment to be here, then the present moment at least becomes workable, right? Yeah, Tamika, yeah. I know that people are right there with me, whether you want to admit it or not, right? Like that, and then sometimes we just don't notice. Sometimes we're so caught up in our distractions that we don't even notice, like how often we're absent of the present moment because this is just the water that we swim in. We're in a world of distraction. It's everywhere. It's everywhere outside of us. Everything's calling for our attention in a really big way, but it's within us too. Damien just said, it was difficult to stay present during the meditation without interrupting thoughts, right? Um, yeah, it's difficult. If it's not out there, it's up in here. There's always distraction. There's always distraction. So I think, these meditations um, are about recognizing that the distraction's always there, it's always available. but we don't need to follow it. We don't need to look, to pay attention, to chase it. Um, we can just go, oh, yep, I recognize there's distraction, but you know what? This present moment, this one breath already is full. It's already full. It already is complete, just as it is. And in this one breath out, or this one breath in, I have every single thing that I need, you know? Um, yeah, Damien says, I willfully focused over and over, and I love that. I love that because it is about it does require some effort, but I guess I would also just, remind you um, to be gentle with yourself and be gentle with your practice, and when you do find that you've been trying to count to 10, but you have even like zero recollection of what the last number was that you were on. When you do find that that happens, the success is in the return. The success is not in I got to 10 and it was perfect. The success is in returning to number 1. Yeah, Leslie says, "It's difficult to keep my mind from wandering, from making to-do lists." Yes, to-do lists, that's my thing too, constantly on the to-do list. Restarted at 1 multiple times. Yeah. But think of it this way. If you were to do this perfect 10 breaths and every single breath of the meditation was exhale number 1, inhale number 1, oh, breath out number 1, breath in number 1. If we just kept repeating 1 over and over and over again, wouldn't that also be perfect, Um, so yeah, it's not natural for a lot of us to be gentle with ourselves, but and that's part of the reason why I like to kind of stay away from the word perfect in describing this meditation, because I think so many of us do have this kind of attachment to perfection, whatever that looks like for us. Um, it's really hard to avoid the judgment, to avoid the self-criticism or beating ourselves up for not being able to focus. I mean, it seems so easy, right? How can we not just like hold focus, hold attention for 10 breaths in a row? But the beauty of this meditation is that it introduces us to the reality that it's not easy, it's not easy. So yeah, we want to be gentle with ourselves as much as possible. When we notice that we've become distracted, we don't need to spend any time like wondering why, or spend any time reviewing what was it that pulled our attention. We don't need to spend any time criticizing ourselves or beating ourselves up. We just go, oh, there it is. I was distracted again. And I go back to breath out number 1. Um, yeah. And, Marcy just said it's hard to just notice the distraction without judging yourselves for it. Um, it's true. The judgment is so quick, so automatic. We are really, really skilled and quick at judging, especially ourselves. And you know, so that's it's like, maybe just don't worry about it then, but don't judge yourself for judging, right? Maybe that first judgment, it's just going to be there. Boom, it's going to be automatic. It's like, "Ugh, I got distracted, but do we dwell? Do we dwell on that judgment? Do we judge ourselves for judging? Do we judge ourselves for judging the judgment, right? And so on and so on and so on. Like, how much is it going to carry us away? The quicker we can turn around and just find that next exhale breath and count it as number 1, um, the more skilled we become at allowing ourselves freedom from distraction. And remember, we will always have distraction, right? That we don't get to a point in our meditation where we stop thinking, we stop feeling. We don't get up to a point in our meditation where we stop hearing sounds around us, or we become like, I'd say it would be dangerous if we like completely became detached or distant or totally unaware of like where we are. All you guys in LinkedIn, maybe some of you are even in an office or in a public space, so we don't get to a point where we like enter some zombie like state in meditation where the distractions are just no longer arising, right? But what we do perhaps get to is a point where when distraction arises, when that thought occurs, when that thing happens that is outside of our intention, um, we can almost instantaneously go, "Oh, there's something that's not what I said I would be focusing on right now." And we can almost instantaneously just turn the mind around and come back to exhale breath number 1, right? So it's a process. It's a process, and it's not about reaching some state where we're no longer thinking, where we're brain dead. But thanks, Damien. Yeah, thanks for joining. But it's a process of just learning that, you know, these distractions, they aren't so important. They're not as important as we think we are. And it's perfectly okay to just let them be and let them go. Um, Anything that's really important, it'll pop back up later on, right? So can we give ourselves permission for uh just 10 breaths? Can we give ourselves permission to fully, fully be present for just 10 breaths? You know, what really is so urgent in our lives that it can't be put on hold for 10 cycles of breath, you know? Um, we're tricked into thinking everything is urgent these days. Everything has sense of urgency to it, and that urgency, it does not come from the distraction itself, right? We're the ones that apply that sense of urgency, because we're just so easily lured and pulled by this world of distraction. But again, what would it feel like? What would it feel like to, not only in meditation, but throughout your day, to be fully present? You know, I think, we all kind of sometimes just go, oh, yeah, yeah, meditation, it's training me to hold focused attention, but why? Why is that important? What would it feel like to move through this world, to move through your day, to move through any one moment, and allow yourself to be fully engaged? Yeah, it would be heaven, says Tamika. Yeah, I think that's, you know, I don't know, it's a light comment, but it's like a really profound comment too. Um, you know, what is what would it feel like to be just content and to recognize and to be aware and to be fully accepting of the fact that this one moment carries everything within it, and there's nothing outside of this moment that's better than this moment. that will, bring us more happiness, that will bring us more joy. Like, this is it. This is it. This is, heaven on earth is happening right here and right now. And, what if we just need to notice, right? What if we just need to be willing to engage? What would it feel like to be a better listener, to be show up like fully present, fully engaged in all of your interactions with loved ones, with coworkers, with the person that's serving you your coffee at Starbucks in the morning or whatever it is, Um, what would it feel like? Yeah, to as Tamika so profoundly says, to know you'd be whole, to know that this moment is whole, is full, it's perfect, it's complete. There's nothing outside of this moment, um, that has carries with it the potential to offer us more, right? And you'll be very aware of the more, the more, the more. Like, getting, part of distraction is thinking, there's more over there. There's more over there. What about this? What about that? Will there be more? Right here is all there is. Right here is all there is. So, the perfect 10 breaths meditation, I think really, really helps us tune into that. So, as a reminder, if we want to do this meditation on your own, if you want to do this meditation at home, it's really simple. Today, we just spent some time getting grounded and sensing into the breath, right? Noticing the breath. The intention was to place our focus on the breath. And once we found ourselves in a relatively comfortable place with attention on breath, then we start this counting, right? So we begin on the exhale breath. Exhale breath number one, followed by inhale number one. Exhale number two, followed by inhale number two. And then we just see if we can count all the way up to 10 without getting pulled, without getting lost, without getting distracted. And any time that we realize we have gotten pulled away, we just return again to exhale breath number one. And that's it. That's the meditation. And in this meditation today, we've spent some time with the exercise with the 10 complete breaths. But then after the exercise, we gave ourselves again some time to just check in, to notice the breath again, to sense what was going on in the body, which I think is helpful because a lot of times doing this exercise, it can create a little bit of tension, especially if we're dealing with like judgment or feel like, I'm really really trying to get up to 10 and I just can't, or I just didn't. um, so it helps to kind of have like a cool down period after the exercise. So yeah, if you want to do it at home on your own, 10 complete breaths, or otherwise known as 10 perfect breaths. You get grounded, you find your breath, and then you try to just completely, fully, wholly immerse yourself in the breath, counting from one cycle of breath all the way up to 10. Maybe spend some time after the exercise, just relaxing into the breath again, and then that's it. Yes, this is recorded. So if you are like, wow, I want to go back and do that again with the guide, you can find this exact video on LinkedIn or on YouTube or on Facebook and replay it from the start. Um, and yeah, we did this today as about a 20-minute meditation, but the complete 10 breaths, you could do as just 10 breaths. You could do it at your desk, you could do it at your computer, you could do it, wherever it is that wherever you find yourself throughout your day where it's safe to just Drop what you're doing and pay attention for 10 cycles of breath. Um, and again, I think it's important to always remind ourselves of the why. You know, why are we trying to cultivate this focused attention? Why do we care about learning to remain present with this one moment, completely free from the compulsion to chase any distractions? Why do we care? Um, we said our suffering ends when we no longer feel that compulsion, respond to that compulsion to chase distraction, right? Because this one moment is full and it's complete and it carries with us everything we need for contentment. We don't have to like it, but if we can stay here, no matter what is arising, this moment suddenly becomes workable, right? It suddenly becomes workable. And we're no longer being pushed or pulled by attachment or aversion. We're no longer caught up in avoidance. We can engage fully, wholly, completely with reality just as it is. And what would it be like to go through your day open and willing to show up for this moment just as it is, right? Willing to engage and to work through this moment just as it is, even if you don't like it, right? Um, Everything's available right here and right now. Everything that we need for our awakening, for complete contentment, it's all right here, right? And so the complete 10 breaths, that meditation is a really good exercise for introducing us to the fullness of the present moment. So thank you guys. Thank you all so much for joining today, for engaging in the comment section. Your contributions and your willingness to share your wisdom with others just means so much. You never know who benefits from whatever comments that you've shared. So thank you so much. You can find this meditation by just replaying this video later on. You can find this meditation on Mindfulness Exercises YouTube under Perfect 10 Breaths. You can also find a script for this meditation on mindfulnessexercises.com. And it's really easy just to practice on your own, right? Just take some time to connect with the breath and then just see if we can't stay with each single breath as it is from 1 to 10, and that's it, right? So it's simple, but these meditations on breath awareness are simple but no less profound, and can really introduce us to some wonderful insights. Um, and that's, test it for yourself. Test it for yourself. Keep coming back to the practice. Try it again and again and again. So thank you so much, you guys. My name is Sarah May, and I will be here at this time every Monday for live meditation. And you can find other live meditations here on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube with mindfulness exercises, or just visit the website directly, mindfulnessexercises.com. Thank you guys. I hope that this meditation was of benefit to you. And by extension, may it be of benefit to all beings everywhere by connecting us with greater contentment and peace and calm. Have a beautiful day or night.